Well, we'll keep on coming back to those pictures as we see the guests leave and introduce you to Matthew Dennison, the royal biographer and the author of The Queen. Welcome to the programme. While we stay with these pictures, let me ask you, what does today and these last days say about Britain and the monarchy?
He's interviewing the guest.
First of all, what it says is that the bond of affection between crown and country, which has always been a distinguishing feature of monarchy in these islands, is still very strong. That is not a feature of monarchy across the globe, this sense that people feel a personal affection towards the sovereign. But I think that has been overwhelmingly clear over the last 10 days, that those strong bonds, which we saw, of course, expressed at successive jubilees, are still very much in place. And what we have witnessed is the death of a monarch who was greatly admired, but also very greatly loved.
It's difficult to imagine, isn't it, any other international figure commanding such a huge gathering of presidents, prime ministers and politicians all in one place.
Yes, I don't think any other international figure, except perhaps the Pope, could command this breadth of leaders from across the world. I think it's worth remembering that the British monarch is the only global monarch left, that the Queen's role in the Commonwealth, which of course will now be taken on by the new king, of course gave her an international presence that other European and international monarchs don't have. Of course, the Queen is the most travelled crowned head in human history, and so not only had she travelled extensively in the British Isles and across the Commonwealth, but also across the remainder of the world. So it's little surprise that she commands this sort of draw. And of course, when we think about the other European monarchies, of course, the majority of those royal houses represented at today's services are actually related to the Queen and to the royal family.
What do you make of the numbers of people in the crowds that we've seen lining the streets and the huge queues to see the coffin?
I don't think it's at all surprising. I think, we have seen the affection that we felt for the Queen. We saw it most recently at the Platinum Jubilee. There was an overwhelming and nationwide outpouring of love for the Queen. So I don't think it's at all surprising that we should see that reiterated over recent days. But I think the scale of public grief will have been enormously helpful to individuals who are struggling with this, and also I think incredibly uplifting for members of the royal family to see the affection in which the Queen was held. So I don't think it's surprising, but I think it is impressive nevertheless.
Critics and commentators around the world are always debating the principle of hereditary monarchy or monarchy itself. How will historians, I wonder, write about what we've seen today?
Well, I think, if there are people who perhaps feel that they cannot fully endorse the idea of a hereditary monarchy, that they will be forced to acknowledge that there apparently are many, many more people who can embrace that concept. What I think we have seen is somebody who has been an astonishingly accomplished, sincere and selfless practitioner of monarchy, who has always abided by constitutional proprieties, who saw herself as a servant queen, who did put the good of the nation, the good of communities large and small across this nation and across the Commonwealth first, who embraced lifelong service with love, devotion and also joy. And I think ultimately that is a ringing endorsement for monarchy and for a system that is fundamentally based on a principle that the person who is most privileged is a giver, not a taker.
Matthew, thank you for coming on the programme and for your analysis. Matthew Dennison, the royal biographer and the author of The Queen.
My pleasure.